Story number 1. The employee who didn't know he was dead. I took the overnight job at Walmart because I needed something quiet. After a rough year, breakup, lost my last job, some family stuff. I figured stacking shelves under fluorescent lights might be the kind of mindless reset I needed. No pressure, no emails, just me and the quiet hum of an empty store from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. It wasn't bad at first, kind of peaceful actually. The aisles were still. The freezer sections let out soft pops every now and then. And the radio, always a bit too low, played the same loop of soft 80s songs like some hypnotic lullaby for shelf stockers. Most nights, I'd be alone in the back half, unpacking boxes and placing items in rows, barcode out. No customers, no drama. There were 6 of us on night crew, but we rarely all worked the same days. Shifts rotated weird. Management said it was to keep hours even. I didn't mind. I liked being alone. Except for Thomas. That's what his name tag said. Thomas. He was in his 40s, maybe 50s. Quiet. Big guy, shaved head, always wore the company-issued hoodie even when it wasn't cold. Said he worked nights for years. I figured he was one of those lifers. You know the type. Keeps to himself. Always knows which key opens what. Never misses a shift. He wasn't assigned to my section, but he'd walk by, say things like, "Don't stack too high," or "These go in front. The old ones expire first." At first I thought he was a manager. He had that energy, like he knew the place better than anyone. One night, while I was restocking cereal, I asked him how long he'd been here. He paused, smiled a little. "Long enough to know you're going to hate inventory week." And that was it. He moved on. I started noticing small things. He never clocked in. You could see the others swipe their badges in the break room terminal. Thomas never did. I thought maybe he was salaried or something, management maybe. But he never gave orders, just tips, advice, like a seasoned old-timer who trained too many people and got used to mentoring without being asked. He also never ate with us. We'd all take our lunch break around 2:30 a.m., sit in the back, scroll through our phones, complain about the music, but Thomas never sat down. Sometimes I'd see him standing at the far end of the break room, arms crossed, watching the door. I thought maybe he was just weird. Every job has that one guy, right? Then, one night, Jacob, a new guy from hardware, joked that Thomas had scared the hell out of him. "He just showed up behind me by the saw blades," Jacob said, laughing. Didn't say a word, just stared. Thought I was going to get murdered. We all laughed. But then Sam from grocery leaned in and said, "Wait, Thomas? Big guy? Wears a hoodie? I thought he quit last year." There was a pause. "No, man," I said. "He's on night shift. I see him almost every day." Sam shook his head slowly. "I swear he quit. After something. He just stopped coming." Management never really said why. Jacob added, "Well, he's definitely here now. Dude's like a ghost. Always around the corner. Watching." The room got quiet after that. We all stared at our sandwiches and lukewarm vending machine coffee like kids telling ghost stories they suddenly regretted. Later that night, I asked Thomas about it. "People said you quit," I told him casually, like I was trying to tease out gossip. He didn't react much, just kept adjusting detergent bottles on the shelf. "Don't listen to everything people say," he replied. "Some folks just don't notice what's right in front of them." And then he walked away. That line stuck with me. The next few days I paid more attention, noticed how he never touched the time clock, never carried a scanner, never signed off on shipments. He'd just drift through aisles, watching, always watching. I asked my supervisor one night, pretending I was confused about who to report something to. "Hey, is Thomas a supervisor?" She paused. "Thomas?" "Tall guy, hoodie, bald, middle-aged?" She blinked. "There's no Thomas on this shift." I laughed awkwardly. "Wait, really?" She pulled out her clipboard, flipped through schedules. "No Thomas. Not since—" Her face changed. She didn't finish the sentence. I asked, "Not since what?" She shook her head, closed the clipboard, and mumbled, "Must be thinking of someone else." I didn't sleep well that day. I came in the next night, heart racing a little. Every creak in the loading dock made me flinch. I tried to act normal. Stocked soup, cans, lined up labels. Then Thomas walked by. "Stack a little lower," he said softly, nodding to my shelf. I didn't answer, just stared. "Something wrong?" he asked. I swallowed. "How long did you say you worked here?" He smiled. I didn't. And then he walked away. I followed him that night. He turned the corner by toys, past the clearance section, and disappeared behind the double doors marked "Employees Only." I waited a few seconds, then pushed through. The hallway was empty. I checked the locker room, storage, even the mop closet. Nothing. When I turned back, one of the overhead lights flickered briefly. Just one. A soft hum. I swear the air felt colder, heavier. I stopped asking questions after that. What would I even say? "Hey, there's a man only I seem to notice who may or may not exist." Instead, I just watched, and I noticed something else. Every time I felt stressed or on the verge of breaking down, Thomas showed up. Quiet, calm, offering small tips. "Take a break. Push the shelf back before restocking. Don't let this place get to you." It was like he knew when I needed help. Maybe that's what scared me most. That he knew me better than anyone else there, like he saw more than the others could, like he'd been watching me from the start. One night, I stayed late after my shift, helping unload a delayed truck. At 8 a.m., daylight poured through the automatic doors, and for the first time I saw Thomas in the sunlight. He was standing just inside the exit, where the greeter usually stands. His eyes looked darker in the daylight. Skin, pale, almost gray. He didn't speak, just nodded once. A slow, knowing nod. That was the last time I saw him. After that, he didn't show up anymore. No more advice. No more hovering. It was like he had finished something. I finally worked up the courage to ask HR directly. I told them I thought Thomas might have been a former employee. Maybe I was imagining him. They pulled up an old file. Thomas Reynolds, night shift associate, worked for 12 years, died in the store. I stared at the screen. "He died?" I asked. The HR rep nodded. "Yeah, heart attack, right there in aisle 7. They say he was helping a new guy." I felt everything in me go still. "What year was that?" I whispered. She scrolled. 3 years ago. I started working there 3 years ago, the same week, same aisle. I didn't say anything else, just nodded and walked out. That night, I passed aisle 7 and paused. The shelves were newly arranged, no more detergent, now it was pet food. But I could still see him standing there, arms crossed, watching. I sometimes wonder if I imagined it all. Stress, exhaustion, grief. It does weird things to the brain. Maybe I made him up. Maybe Thomas was just a way my mind helped me get through. But every now and then, a new hire will ask, "Hey, "Who's that guy in the hoodie?" And I just say, "Don't worry, he's one of the good ones." Still, sometimes when I'm alone in that aisle, I swear I hear a soft voice behind me say, "Stack a little lower." I don't turn around anymore. I just do it, because somehow I know he's still watching. And honestly, I don't think he ever left. Story number 2. Do not scan the $1 mirror. I used to work the self-checkout section at Walmart. Graveyard shift, midnight to 8 a.m. It wasn't a bad gig, mostly quiet. The occasional drunk shopper, maybe someone grabbing diapers or cold medicine at 3 a.m. But otherwise, it was peaceful. Just me, the soft buzz of the lights and the beeping of scanners. They put me on self-checkout because I didn't talk much. Said I was good with machines, which I guess meant I didn't get bored watching people scan groceries for 8 hours straight. The screens all faced the same way. The machines gave off this low humming sound when idle. Kind of comforting in a weird way. But there was one thing I didn't like. 24. Technically, it wasn't even an aisle. It was one of those metal wire racks near the checkout lanes. Discount junk, mostly. Travel-sized tissues, keychains, broken phone cases, weird trinkets, and a bin of $1 makeup, mirrors, plastic, round, cheap. They weren't popular. Every time someone picked one up, they'd stare at it for a second and put it back like they changed their mind. I didn't think much of it until I noticed that every time one was scanned at self-checkout, the machine glitched. Not in a dramatic way, just off. The screen would freeze for half a second, the subtotal would flash, then the mirror's barcode would register. But the item line would be blank. I remember the first time it happened. A woman, probably in her 30s, wearing scrubs, came in after her shift. She looked tired. Bought some granola bars, a pack of socks, and one of those mirrors. When she scanned it, the screen flashed white for just a second. Then it blinked to normal. She frowned. "Did you see that?" she asked. I nodded. "Yeah, happens sometimes. Cheap scanner." She paid and left. But when I looked at the camera above her register, later, just out of curiosity, she wasn't alone. I mean, she was. In the moment, there was no one near her. No one else in the lane. But in the footage, just for one frame, you could see a second reflection in the mirror. A face, pale, unsmiling, right behind her, only visible in that blink. I told myself it was a compression glitch. Maybe the machine mirrored her face weirdly, but it kept happening. Not often, just once in a while. Different customers, always at night, always scanning one of those dollar mirrors. The glitch, the reflection. Then the customers would stop mid-scan. Sometimes they'd look over their shoulder. Sometimes they'd hold the mirror up again and stare for a second too long. And always, they left in a hurry. One girl dropped hers in the bag and just walked out without finishing the transaction. When I tried to return the mirror to the bin, the screen on her machine stayed white, frozen. I had to power cycle it. The mirror was cold, too cold, like it had just come out of a freezer. I didn't tell anyone. Who would believe that? I mean, it's a dollar mirror, plastic and glass, probably made in bulk, overseas. Maybe there was some static interference, or maybe I was overtired. I worked nights, barely saw the sun. Your brain plays tricks on you. But I started watching. I'd scan one when the floor manager wasn't around, just to test it. Every time, it glitched. Not always the same way. Sometimes the screen blinked. Sometimes the subtotal doubled for a second before fixing itself. But once, and I swear this is true, the screen showed my face. before I stepped in front of it. Just my face. Blank. Staring straight ahead. Then it blinked back to normal. That was the last time I touched one. After that, I started quietly pulling the mirrors from the bin. When no one was looking, I'd toss them in the damaged inventory cart in the back. A few times I even tossed them out in the dumpster. But they always came back, restocked, refilled, never marked on the inventory sheets. I asked a coworker once, Donna, who did day shifts, if she ever noticed anything strange about the mirror bin. She shrugged. They just never sell. We've had the same box for months. That wasn't true. I had seen at least 10 go through self-checkout in the past few weeks. But it was like they didn't leave the store, like they came back. One night, around 4 a.m., I saw a man scanning one. Thin, clean-shaven, wearing an old denim jacket. I didn't recognize him. He looked calm. Too calm. Like he wasn't really paying attention. He scanned the mirror, and the machine didn't blink this time. It turned off. Just black. No beep. No error message. Just a black screen. The lights above the checkout flickered once. I walked over slowly, already feeling that tight knot in my chest. He stood still, staring at the blank screen. "Need help?" I asked. He didn't answer. He just held the mirror out toward me. "Do you see it?" he whispered. The way he said it, it wasn't scared. It wasn't excited. It was flat, like he was describing the weather. I glanced at the mirror, just for a second. It showed the store behind me. Empty aisles, bright lights. But my reflection wasn't alone. Something moved behind it, just at the edge of the frame. It looked like someone else was standing directly behind me, but I couldn't feel anything. No presence, no breath, just an image staring at my back. I jerked away. When I looked up, the man was already walking out. Left everything behind. Mirror still in his hand. I never saw him again. The camera didn't catch his face. I filed a report. Half-heartedly. Said the machine powered down. Customer left. No theft. Nothing stolen. But I never mentioned the reflection. The store kept restocking the bin. One night, I finally asked my supervisor if we could remove the mirrors. Said they were causing machine issues. He blinked. "What mirrors?" I pointed. The bin was gone. I checked the other lanes. Nothing. I walked through aisles 1 through 10 twice. No mirrors, no wire rack. But when I came back to self-checkout, the bin was back. Same mirrors. Same cheap packaging. No price tag. I didn't say anything after that. I just stopped looking at them. Even if someone scanned one, I wouldn't glance at the screen. I'd pretend I didn't hear the beep. I'd reset the machines with my eyes on the floor. Then during inventory week, we were told to scan every item manually for logging. I was assigned checkout, which meant the mirrors. I stood in front of the bin, gloved hand, scanner in my right, one by one. First mirror, beep, glitch, subtotal, blinked. Second mirror, beep, nothing strange. Third, beep, subtotal, changed to -$1 for a second, then fixed itself. Fourth, screen flashed white and stayed that way, and then I saw it. On the black border of the screen, not in the mirror this time, but in the reflection of the scanner itself. A face, not mine, pale, eyeless, mouth slightly open, like it had been caught mid-sentence. And then it smiled, not a big smile, just a twitch. A slight unnatural curve, not playful, not human. I dropped the scanner and backed away. The machine rebooted on its own. I left the bin unfinished. Wrote Wrote it off as defective merchandise, no one asked. But since that night, I've seen the mirrors show up in other places. One in the dressing room, one in the cart return area, even one just sitting in the men's bathroom, facing the stall, like they're moving, like they're watching. Last week, I passed by a mirror someone had left near customer service. Just for a second, I saw my reflection, and it blinked before I did. I walked away. I don't work at Walmart anymore. But sometimes when I pass a discount store or see a clearance bin, I check just to be sure, and if I see those plastic round $1 mirrors, I don't touch them. And whatever you do, don't scan them. Story number 3, the baby aisle laughter. I used to do overnight stock at Walmart, 3 nights a week. It was quiet mostly. You'd get the occasional customer in the first few hours, someone grabbing Tylenol or diapers, but by 2 a.m., the store was nearly dead. That's when I liked it best. No crowds, no noise. Just the low buzz of the lights overhead and the squeak of cartwheels. Peaceful in its own weird way. The baby aisle was part of my section. Diapers, formula, pacifiers, onesies. I didn't mind it. Sometimes I'd pause to look at the little shoes. Tiny things, lined up in pastel blues and soft pinks. It made me think of my niece. I don't have kids of my own. Anyway, that aisle had this calm to it. Like it was always just a little quieter than the rest of the store. I figured it was the insulation from all the boxed diapers. The shelves were higher there, more packed in. Light felt dimmer somehow. Not broken, just softer. Like the bulbs there age differently. I noticed the laughter about 2 weeks in. I was putting up wipes on the bottom shelf, kneeling down, my back to the end of the aisle. I heard it faintly, just a soft giggle. High-pitched, quick, like a baby laughing. I paused. It wasn't over the speakers. I would have known. We had the same background music every night. Instrumental covers of pop songs, slightly warped from overuse. This was different. A real sound from the aisle itself. I stood up, peeked around the corner. No one. The place was empty. I figured maybe someone left a toy on, one of those dolls that laugh when you press their belly. Happens all the time. Parents get distracted. Kids leave things behind. So I scanned the shelves. Nothing out of place. A few days later, I heard it again. This time, I was at the far end of the aisle, near the formula. It was later, maybe 3:30. Dead silent in the store. Not even the janitor's cart was moving. Same laugh. Short, software, almost playful. But it came from behind me. Close, like a few feet away. I turned fast, expecting a coworker messing around. Nothing. Just the shelves, lined with baby bottles and tiny socks. Everything still. That night, I checked every single toy in the aisle. Scanned the barcodes, read the packaging. None of them made sound. No batteries, no speakers. Just plush animals and plastic rings. I told myself maybe I was overtired. I'd been picking up extra shifts lately. My sleep was a mess. You start hearing things when your brain's half awake. That's what I believed until it started happening more often. Always in the same aisle. Always after 3 a.m. Never more than once per night. Never longer than a couple seconds. Just a giggle. Childlike. Real. And it always sounded like it was right behind me. I stopped wearing earbuds after that. I wanted to hear everything around me. The silence felt heavier somehow, like the kind that pushes in on your ears. I told Leo, the guy who worked the next aisle over. He stocked pet food. He raised an eyebrow, laughed once. "Man, you've been breathing in too much baby powder." I shrugged. "I'm serious. It's always the same sound." He just grinned. Maybe one of the babies crawled off the shelf. He didn't believe me. No one would. But then last Thursday, he came up to me looking pale. "You stocking the baby aisle tonight?" he asked. "Yeah, why?" He paused, swallowed. "Swear I saw a kid crawl out the other night. Thought I was losing it." I blinked. "You serious?" He nodded slowly. Little shape, on the floor, moved fast. I went to check, and nothing. We didn't talk about it again. After that, I started noticing other things. Items moved. Not big things. Small stuff. A bottle knocked over. A onesie folded wrong. A pack of diapers turned backward. Not stuff a customer would do. Not at that hour. I'd fix it. Come back 10 minutes later. Same thing. Moved again. One night I brought a roll of tape and quietly marked the corners of a display stand. Just to see. By the end of my shift, one of the corners had peeled upward. Not torn. Peeled. That same night, the laughter came again. But this time, it repeated. 2 giggles. Then silence. Then a third, sharper one. Like whoever, or whatever it was, had noticed me listening. I froze. Didn't turn around. Just stood still, hands on the shelf. And then I heard something small slide across the floor behind me. When I finally looked, nothing was there. But one of the tiny shoes from the top shelf had fallen, laid neatly in the middle of the aisle. It wasn't there before. I picked it up with shaking hands, placed it back, didn't speak. The cameras didn't catch anything. I asked the guy in security to pull the feed as a favor. We watched together. In the footage, I was alone. The shoe, it just fell. No one around, no movement. It just dropped. He gave me a weird look and said, "Probably just vibration from the cart." But I hadn't touched the cart for 20 minutes. After that, I avoided the aisle unless I had to be there. I'd rush through it, keep my head down, stack fast, move on. But the thing is, it didn't stop. Now I'd hear soft breathing sometimes, a sigh, like a baby trying to fall asleep. And once, I heard a rattle, just once, clear as day, shaking, metallic. And it came from the bottom shelf. I crouched down slowly, heart pounding, moved one of the boxes aside. There was nothing there, just empty tile, no toy, no rattle. But when I stood up, one of the baby monitors on the top shelf turned on by itself. It crackled, and then whispered. Static filled the aisle. I didn't even turn it off. I just walked away. I told my supervisor I was switching sections. I didn't give a reason. He didn't ask. I work near automotive now. Tires and car mats. Greasy and boring, but safe. Still, sometimes when I'm near the center of the store late at night, I'll hear it again. Faint. Just a single giggle floating through the air. Too soft to be real. Too real to ignore. And now I'm starting to wonder if that aisle ever really wanted to be empty in the first place. I never see anyone buy from there, but the shelves are always restocked. And every time I pass by, I swear one of the shoes is turned the wrong way. Like someone small has been there, watching, waiting. Story number 4. Restroom 3 has no door, yet sounds come from it. I worked maintenance at Walmart for just over a year. Night shifts mostly. They paid better, and I liked the quiet. Fewer people, fewer messes. Just me, my cart, and the drone of the ceiling lights echoing through empty aisles. There were 3 restrooms in our store. 2 up front by customer service, men's and women's, and 1 in the back hallway, labeled simply Restroom 3. That one was sealed shut, or rather, it was always closed off. It didn't have a proper door, just a frame like the door had been removed years ago. In its place was a sheet of old plywood. leaned up at an angle, nailed in halfway like someone started boarding it and gave up. Above it hung faded sign that read, "Out of order, do not enter." No one ever talked about it. It was just part of the store. Same way you don't question a squeaky cart or a flickering light. You see it, note it, and move on. Still, I passed that hallway every night. It led to the stockroom, the break area, and my little supply closet. The light above the plywood was always dimmer than the rest of the hallway. Not burnt out, just dull, a little yellowed. Didn't seem like a big deal until I started hearing the sounds. It began with water, dripping, slow and steady, like a leaky faucet. At first I assumed it was coming from the utility sink next to the janitor closet. Those pipes were old, and the plumbing was sketchy back there, but one night I checked. Sink was dry, bone dry. Still, the dripping sound was there, right near the plywood. When I leaned closer, it was louder. I tapped the wood, gently, just once. It felt solid, cold, and then the dripping stopped. Didn't start again that night. A few shifts later, I heard it again. Only this time, it wasn't just dripping. There was movement, faint shuffling, a soft scuff on tile like someone dragging their foot. Then quiet again. It wasn't coming from the hallway. It was inside that space behind the plywood. I thought maybe a raccoon or something got in, or a rat. I've dealt with worse, so I told my supervisor. Her name was Kelsey. "There's something moving in restroom 3, I said. "Might be an animal." She looked up from her tablet, frowning. "Restroom 3's sealed. There's no plumbing, no crawl space. It's been shut down for years." "I know, but I heard something." She didn't answer right away. Then she said, "If something's in there, it'll find its way out eventually." And she went back to typing. That was the end of it. I started avoiding that hallway when I could. Took the long route to the break room. Didn't restock mop heads during my shift. Just waited until the morning crew came in. But Walmart has a way of pulling you into places you don't want to be. One night, I got called over the radio. Spill near the back, by the stockroom. I grabbed my cart and headed down the usual hallway. Past restroom 3. Didn't even glance at it. But as I walked by, I heard coughing. Not loud. Not sick sounding. Just a soft, low cough, like someone trying not to be noticed. I stopped, turned toward the plywood. It was quiet. I waited a few seconds, heart ticking in my ears. Then I walked away. I cleaned the spill fast. Apple juice, broken bottle, and went back to the front, still thinking about that sound. Next night I got there early. Store was still open, but just barely. Few stragglers buying snacks and socks. I went to the back, walked to restroom 3, and stared at the plywood. Still there, still leaning, still half-nailed like someone didn't want to commit. I listened. Nothing. So I did something stupid. I pushed it, just a little. It didn't move much. The nails held, but there was a gap along the side, maybe an inch wide. I leaned close and looked through. It was dark, almost pitch black, but I could see tile, the edge of a sink, the glint of a metal handle on a paper towel dispenser. The room wasn't collapsed, it was intact. I couldn't see the far side, just enough to know it was bigger than I expected. And then, there it was again, breathing, not mine, slow, measured, almost deliberate, like someone trying to make sure I heard. I stepped back and left. Didn't report it, didn't speak of it. I should have, but I didn't. About a week later, we got a new guy on nights. Brandon, young, loud, always had one earbud in and smelled like Axe body spray. I didn't say much to him. On his third shift, I saw him wandering the back hallway. He was looking around, confused. Lost? I asked. He pointed. Is that a restroom? I followed his gaze. Restroom 3. Don't worry about it, I said quickly. It's out of order. He squinted. I thought I heard someone in there. I didn't answer. Later that shift, I found the plywood leaning slightly outward. Not by much, just an inch, like someone had pushed it from the inside. I didn't touch it. I just kept walking. Brandon stopped showing up after 2 weeks. No call, no final shift, just gone. When I asked about him, Kelsey just said, "Didn't work out." That was all she said. That same week, the coughing came back. Every night. Always from the same place. And something else, too. Scratching. Not loud. Just soft. Like fingernails on the other side of the plywood. Sometimes it came from low on the wall, sometimes high up. Like whatever was inside. Didn't move like we do. Last night was the worst. I went back there to get a broom. Just a broom. Walked past the restroom. And I heard crying. Not a scream. Not a sob. Just this small, broken whimper. It sounded like a child. Or something pretending to be one. It lasted 5 seconds. Then silence. I stood there for a long time, staring at the wood, at the thin, crooked nail sticking out like a finger. I wanted to leave, but I didn't. I stepped closer. 1 foot, 2, put my ear near the crack in the plywood, and I whispered, "Who's in there?" No response. But then, right as I turned to leave, I heard something. Just one word. It came out so soft I almost thought I imagined it. It said, "Help." But it didn't sound like a plea. It sounded like a suggestion. I haven't told anyone, and I don't go down that hallway anymore, but I still hear it, the coughing, the scraping, and now, sometimes, a max da faint talk. Just once. Like it's waiting for someone to knock back. Story number 5. He only bought rope and bleach. I used to work at the Walmart just off Route 72, overnight cashier. I was on lane 4, usually by myself, right across from self-checkout. The night shift's slow, a lot of time to think. You scan a few things, listen to the beeps, nod at the regulars, and wait for the hours to pass. Most customers keep their heads down, grab what they need, and go. But there was this one guy. He started coming in late, always around 3 a.m. Never spoke, never looked up. Just came straight to my lane, paid in cash, and left. The first time I noticed him, he bought 2 items, a bottle of bleach and a thick coil of nylon rope. I didn't think much of it. It's Walmart. People buy weird combinations all the time. Someone once bought duct tape, a pack of pacifiers, and 13 cans of whipped cream. You don't ask questions. But this guy, something felt different. He was tall, wore an old coat, heavy, dark brown, too warm for the season, collar turned up. His face was pale, with this stretched, tight look, like he hadn't slept in days. His hands were red around the knuckles, like he'd been scrubbing something. I said good evening the first night. He didn't answer, just slid the items forward, handed me 2 tins, and left. I remembered the smell. Bleach, obviously, but something else underneath, like damp wood or mold. Just for a second. He came back 2 nights later. Same time, same coat, same 2 items, rope, bleach. I scanned them slowly, glanced up. His eyes were on me this time. Not his whole face, just his eyes. They were dull, not tired, not angry, just Fatastai. I gave him his change. He didn't take it, just turned and walked out. The bills sat on the counter until my shift ended. I mentioned it to Marcus, one of the stalkers. You ever see that guy who only buys rope and bleach? Marcus snorted. That's a joke setup, right? I'm serious. He's been in twice this week. Same stuff. Then he came in again. Same items. Third time. That's when it started to feel wrong. Not illegal. Not quite. But off. Like I was part of something I didn't want to be near. I tried to catch a glimpse of his license plate through the windows, but he parked far, past the lot lights. Just darkness beyond the glass. After that third visit, I started keeping a notebook at my station. Just a little thing I slipped into the drawer. I logged the time he came in, what he bought, what he wore. Not that it changed much. 4 visits, 5, each one the same, always bleach, always rope, sometimes different brands. Like he was deliberately mixing it up, but never more than those 2 items, and never anything else. No gloves, no wipes, no trash bags, just those. After his 6th visit, I asked my manager, Lisa, if we ever limit how much of a chemical someone can buy. She gave me a weird look. Why? There's this guy, I said, keeps buying bleach and rope. Her mouth tightened. She didn't laugh. How many times? 6. She paused. Always at your register? I nodded. She didn't say much after that, just told me to let her know if he came again. The next time he showed up, he was soaking wet. Coat dripping. Water on the floor. Hair flattened to his head. No umbrella. He dropped the rope on the belt first, then the bleach. And then, for the first time, he spoke. Scanners down. His voice was rough, like he hadn't used it in a while. I looked at the screen. It was fine. No error. I think it's working, I said softly. He stared at me. Not angry. Not even confused. Just stared. Then slowly nodded. Like he was remembering something. He paid in cash. Again. Wet bills. As he walked away, I noticed his coat wasn't just wet. It was torn. On the side, near the hem, threads dangled like it had caught on something. I looked at the items he left behind. A smear of dirt on the rope packaging. And the bleach bottle cap was cracked. I told Lisa again. She didn't answer at first, then just said, "We'll keep an eye on him." But he didn't come back the next night, or the one after that. 2 weeks passed. No sign. Then a detective showed up. Plainclothes. Quiet. Asked to speak to the overnight crew. Asked if we'd seen a man matching that description. Lisa pointed him to me. I told him everything, the purchases, the times, the behavior. He listened, took notes, asked if I still had the receipts. I did. I even showed him the notebook. He flipped through it. Didn't say anything for a long while. Then he thanked me. As he left, I asked, "What happened?" He looked at me, hesitated, then said, "You'll probably hear about it soon." That night, I went home and checked the local news. There'd been a fire. An abandoned house off a service road near the woods. Burned halfway down before the rain helped put it out. They found rope in the basement and bleach bottles. But no body, just claw marks on the floor and a pile of burned clothes. One of the photos, blurry, taken from far off, showed something lying near the wreckage. A coat, brown, torn at the hem. I haven't seen the man since, but sometimes late at night, around 3 a.m., my register glitches, just for a second. The screen goes white, and when it comes back, the last scanned item shows up as unknown, even when no one's there. I keep the rope and bleach off my belt now. I don't ask questions. And I always look twice when someone walks through the doors after midnight. Not because I expect to see him again, but because I'm afraid I already have. If this story gave you chills, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more true horror stories. don't forget to watch the videos popping up on your screen right now. They're just as unsettling. And if you've ever had a creepy experience of your own, share it in the comments below. We're listening.